Cape Town is a popular Christmas destination for travelers running away from the cold in their home countries. Normally it is very difficult to find a hotel during that time of the year, but this year things are going to be different. Although South Africa opened its borders for international tourists with a negative COVID test result, only few are coming.
It's going to be very different because I don't think that Christmas will be the same. Most of people, they lost their jobs.
COVID-19 has affected my mental health a lot. So usually when I go home for Christmas, I'm really cheery and I'm the bubbly one. But now, I'm taking a cloud of sadness home that is not necessary.
The amount of people gathering together, the virus will spread quicker, which is a bad thing for everybody. Not just for ourselves, but for our families, co-workers, colleagues, sisters and brothers. That is why we celebrate things on a smaller scale this year due to the pandemic.
The number of new COVID infections is rather low for now, but on the rise again. Epidemiologists warn of a spike in cases because of the Christmas celebrations. Most events here were already cancelled. The good news for those already here, if you're looking for silence and contemplation on a lonely beach, your chances are quite good this year.
It doesn't get much more Christmassy than this. London's Oxford Street, usually buzzing with holiday shoppers. But this year, standing around in big crowds isn't top of anybody's Christmas list. The UK is still under strict restrictions, but from the 23rd until the 27th of December, there'll be a brief relaxation of the rules. Up to 3 households will be allowed to meet inside. And for many of us, it's the first time we'll have seen families indoors since March. But as Prime Minister Boris Johnson put it, 'tis a season to be jolly, 'tis also a season to be jolly careful. And there are concerns we risk undoing the gains made in November's lockdown. So for some, the question this Christmas is not, can we meet loved ones? It's should we?
I think people deserve a bit of a break. I mean, I understand the implication, but I know given the citizens of this country, they would do it anyway. So the government, I felt, had to back down.
I am spending it just with my boyfriend, and it's actually going to be a nice change because when everyone gets together, that's usually a recipe for disaster.
I don't have any plans. I'm afraid I'm waiting to be invited to places.
Christmas will not be cancelled this year in Bethlehem, said to be the birthplace of Jesus, but it will be completely different because of the corona pandemic. Everything here is much quieter, just here in front of the Church of the Nativity. This is usually the busiest time of the year for the Palestinian town. There are no foreign visitors because Israel is still banning foreigners from entering the country and thus the occupied territories as well. It is unclear whether Palestinian Christians from other parts of the West Bank and Israel will be able to take part in the festivities. The Palestinian Authority has recently imposed a new nighttime lockdown to help curb a new spike in infection rates. But while celebrations will be severely scaled back, people here say they still want to send a message of hope from Bethlehem to the rest of the world.
I'm at Sydney's iconic Bondi Beach. It's crowded, but if you look more closely, beachgoers are practicing social distancing on the sand. Here in Australia, there is very little community transmission, and to the relief of many, COVID restrictions are easing in time for Christmas. But the country's international borders remain closed. While this festive season will be overshadowed by the pandemic, Australia's success in virtually stamping out the virus means many are beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
I think it'd be nice to sort of get back together with everyone. A lot of people have been separated for a while, and definitely had my period where I couldn't see my family, so I'll definitely be sort of centering in on that for sure.
I wasn't planning on celebrating here at all. I was planning on going home, but even here I definitely think it's changed. It's gonna be a little bit easier, I think, just because the restrictions have kind of relaxed a little, but earlier on in the year I was really worried about if I was going to be able to travel to my friends here in Australia.
Now we can have more people. Each time it's a bit better, and it will get better and better. By the time Hanukkah comes, it's another 2-3 weeks, like Christmas, and it will be okay.
Christmas and New Year's night were always family celebrations in my childhood during the Soviet Union. People get together for a meal at home, watch Soviet films and eat. But in the last few years, that changed and Russians discovered street festivals. This year, everything has to change again, because mass meetings outside are prohibited. New Year's night will be intimate and small again, just like in my childhood. With one exception, which is ice skating. That remains allowed in Moscow this year, despite the pandemic. From my point of view, the most beautiful place for it is here in the legendary Gorky Park.
Usually we all get together as a big family with our parents too, but this time we're avoiding that because they're seniors, so unfortunately we'll celebrate without them.
COVID changed our plans. We wanted to go skiing in Europe, but now we're going to Sochi, probably with about 20 million other Muscovites.
I'm going to celebrate at my cabin as usual. The coronavirus doesn't really change anything for me.
Normally we travel to Madrid on Christmas Eve and stay for a few days. This year we have to celebrate at home, but we'll have entertainment from our grandson. Where there are children, there's Christmas.
We'd like to organize a big party with our friends, but I don't think that's possible. So, home, family, that's all there is to it.
Usually we celebrate with many relatives from all over, my big extended family. Now this year it will be only our closest circle, my daughters and my husband.
Here in the Spanish city of Sevilla, the Christmas lights that you see behind me stay off at the moment, even at night. The city administration is afraid of big crowds that might come and watch them. The general restrictions for Christmas here in Spain are not clear yet, but everybody knows this will be a very different festive season. Even in my own family, which is partly German and partly Spanish, we don't know what to do yet, and if we will be able to meet each other at all.
Of course, it would be nicer to go to the Christmas market, but I think these measures are sensible and more important now. Next year we can catch up on our traditions again, so I have no problem.
It's difficult. We usually celebrate with my husband's side and also my side together. Now we have to split everything up so that fewer households come together. Already as a pharmacy employee, I always have to be very cautious not to bring the virus home. So there's no choice but to split things up this year.
With my family, we've all agreed to take coronavirus tests before we meet at home, and if they all turn out negative, we come together. If not, then not, or in smaller groups.
I want to hug my family again. I miss that.
Normally, at this time of year, the place behind me would look totally different. There would be lots of Christmas market stands and the smell of roasted almonds everywhere to get you in the mood. But what I personally miss the most this December is meeting friends in the evening and drinking mulled wine together. The only thing that cheers me up this year is mulled wine to go. Cheers and Merry Christmas.